Hello traders, welcome to the weekly market overview with me, Pierre from PAFX. Nice to see that we do have already 20 viewers before we starting, but we only have 7 likes. Come on guys, I won't start this before I get 20 likes, then I will start the session. Just kidding. Please hit the like button if you do like those sessions. If it is your first time here, welcome to my channel. Please do subscribe to the channel and click the notification button so you get notification when I go online or when I upload a new video. I hope all that you had a great trading week last week, and we're gonna have a session looking for what the market giving us for next week. So as usual, I'm gonna roll the disclaimer, and after that we get started. So please read this disclaimer to know about the risk involved in trading, and that this session is only the way I see the market and should not be seen as a signal in any way. So you can just hit the pause button and read the disclaimer and understand the risk about trading. Yeah, welcome everyone. As I said, please hit the like button if you like these sessions, and please do subscribe to this channel and the notification to get notified every time. So next week we start with the news as usual. We do have some news. The most important is, for me, I think, is FOMC on Wednesday. But we start on Monday with the major event where we do have Governor Carney's speech for the sterling. Monetary policy meeting minutes for the Aussie on Tuesday. Once again, Wednesday we do have some news for the sterling. Average earning index, inflation report hearings as well, and of course the FOMC minutes. Thursday, sterling second estimate GDP quarter on quarter important, core retail sales for CAD, crude oil inventory gonna move CAD and USD, and for New Zealand we do have retail sales quarter and quarter, and we end Friday with CPI for the CAD month on month. These were the major event, and we do have some medium event. As you see, lots of orange news. They are important as well, but for me, as usual, I do like to look for the major impact news. So we will start with the Dixie as usual, and we are back to the possible support level we talked about last week, guys. We've been talking about this previous resistance that it may act as support. Now last week we did a retest of that level. As you see, this weekly candle looking a bit ugly, a bearish engulfing candle, but still we broke just below support. We're gonna see that clear on the daily. But Friday was a bullish day with giving us a bullish engulfing candle at this level, which could be here a scenario for a possible bounce higher again, since we do have this triple bottom on the daily now. Let's not forget the USD trend is still to the downside. You can see it clearly, no matter how you draw the channel or the trend line. We are still in a bearish trend, but as you see, we've got some correction that gave some good trends anyway on the bounces earlier. So where we are right now is an important level. Once again, since we looked at the weekly, you saw why it should be an important level, and we do have this possible triple bottom scenario now, and we do have bullish divergence on the RSI as well, which usually mean a possible reversal. The divergence giving us an early warning about that, guys. Okay, so keep an eye on this level. This is the daily. we go down to the 4-hour and see what we have. On the 4-hour, the trend is still bearish as well, but now we did break above Friday's R1. We did break above this swing high here, broke and closed above that. The Dixie did close at the highs, which may give us a possible early signal that we may get a retest of the monthly pivot point here. So we do have this range right now. We are in the middle of this range, and I'm talking about this particular range here, this box, and there is room both to the upside and to the downside. But I think if the Dixie does something like this, a retest toward 88.60 area down here, that we probably can look for a possible bounce based on what we saw on Friday, that we may got bulls entering the market, and we're gonna see why on the other US dollar pairs that gonna help us a little bit, and even on gold gonna give us a bit of more explanation that why we may expect this bounce to happen. Gold, if we had a triple bottom on Dixie, we do have a possible triple top on gold. As well, we're still in a bullish trend on gold. Actually, it's for me a possible long-term bullish on gold. The day we broke this descending trend line here, you see it was acting after these two tests here. We got many tests here, another time, couple of times here. We broke it, dipped down, tested the 200 weekly moving average, and start trending higher. We are in a longer term bullish trend, but now since we reached these levels, we may probably see some correction lower. I still think there is a possibility that gold may reach the monthly R1 and test the highs of the middle of 2016. That is still possible, but as you see here, the first level we should keep an eye on is of course where gold is trading right now. Last Friday it was a try to push higher, couldn't break these highs. There is a possible scenario that this is only a correction short term and then to reach the monthly R1. But since we do have Dixie making that triple bottom, gold making this triple top, after this such a strong move to the upside, very strong bearish divergence on the RSI between this high and this high, there is a big difference. We do have a possible head and shoulder scenario here as well. All this make me start thinking that at least we may see a short-term correction on gold as well, and that dollar will bounce higher and possibly gold correct a little bit lower before it continues the major long trend. If we look at Friday's candle, we do have bearish engulfing candle. It did engulf the previous day, the whole Thursday trading, which is a strong rejection, and giving us a bearish engulfing is a very good pattern. I do like to see this pattern happening at the right level, and this is not a bad level at all to see this engulfing as a possible signal for at least correction lower. The first trouble area we're going to be looking at is where gold is testing right now, the 1344. This level is an important level. It needed a very strong bullish candle to break it this time. So you should keep an eye on that 1344. If broken, then you wait for the retest, and then you may get your move back to the downside from that level toward probably these areas. If this happen, you have to have in mind that this is a counter trend trade idea. So you need to have take profit which is not very wide, because when you're trading against the trend, things may gonna be a little bit slow. Okay, and of course, if this 1344 hold, then we may see a bounce toward the monthly R1 this time and test the extreme highs from the mid of 2016. Oil did found support at the level I mentioned last week in my weekly overview, and I told you guys if we break this level, then we're gonna test the 55 area. That didn't happen. It did hold where it should be, which means break of this level and then retest of the level. Now this could still be a bearish continuation since we broke this major trend line. So I want you to keep an eye on this first area here, the 62.60 or the monthly pivot point. These two levels could be the levels where oil may give you a bounce to the downside. As for now, there is more room to the upside. Let's take a Fibonacci retracement tool and see where we are. We did break above the 38.2, and I do like this area between the 61.8 and the monthly pivot point, since we have this previous structure here to retest. That would be a retest of this neckline of this double top here. That could give us a possible 2618 trade, a retest of the trend line from below, and probably another bounce down. So start looking for bearish evidence here. If you get that, then you may have a possible shorting opportunity here. Since we broke below all these lows, now we can expect that there is a possibility that the move lower continues more. Okay, there is a lots of room to reach the 200 moving average here, which should be the mean revision. There is a possibility that we test the 100 daily moving average as well. So keep an eye on this level, targets back down toward this level back here. Yeah, very interesting chart. Palladium, we did hedge our way to the upside. This short has been a very good short here, but as I said, guys, we started to reach levels where Palladium may bounce back up, and been trading all the way up during the whole last week. So this is looking almost at the same as the oil chart. Keep an eye on that neckline at the monthly pivot point and the 61.8 area up here. So kill zone between the 50% and the 61.8. You should probably look for daily signals, because if we broke and close above this high, then there is a possibility that we continue higher. But what I'm seeing here is a possible retest of this broken trend line, retest of the neckline here. So look for daily signals if you want to short this. Look for daily candles, bearish engulfing, or whatever your trigger, and let it be on a daily chart or daily time frame, and then you can target back down here toward this level where we did the reversal. So this was our last low. There is a possibility that we do retest that. As you see now, the 200 moving average is almost tested, and it is still a bullish chart, even though we broke below this inner trend line. The major trend line is still intact. Let me fine tune that a little bit so you can see it. Why I was thinking that if we break this major trend line, then there is no return. It's gonna be a long move to the downside. So let's try and look for this level here. If we get any good reversal signal here, going down to 4 hour, looking for head and shoulders or double top scenarios or stuff like that, or if you start getting lower lows and lower highs again, then you can short it from this skill zone here. So the Forex, we start with Aussie Jappy. I mentioned, guys, many times now this trend line, and that I thought that we may break it this time. We did break the trend line. We did reach this area that was an important support level, broke all the way down on the hours time frame. On the 4 hour we had a break, and then it trended back up all the way, which make it look at as a possible fake out, but it is too big to be only a fake out for me. So if we go back to the daily, the level is clearly broken now. We have a break and close below the structure. With this major rejection here, we never had a close below this previous structure, but now with Thursday and Friday candles, there was a close below the structure, which make me start thinking that we may continue lower. The RSI is on the extreme, making some divergence, so I'm not sure this will continue down all the way without making a correction. So the best way to play this is wait for that correction and possibly a retest of this broken major trend line before a continuation. So if this market break back above and start making higher highs, that does not mean it's gonna doing that all the way up here. That could be a retest of the trend line, monthly S2, before you see a possible reversal. I still see there is more room to the downside. Now if we break below this last major low, then of course it's gonna keep going in a much faster way. As you see, if we break below this pin bar here, there is a lot of stop losses here that gonna be triggered and fuel this trade to the downside. And if that happen, I am expecting it to reach the bottom down here. Okay. Aussie New Zealand continues lower. There is nothing to hold it on the way. We are trading back below the 100 moving average on the daily. It did a perfect example of break, retest, continuation, and now we broke below this minor structure. It was a clear structure on the 4 hour, as you see here. And the way to play this, or the way to start seeing this scenario, that there is a possibility that we break on this particular time frame. As you see, the highs, this was the last high, then all the highs getting lower and lower, and we had equal lows here. So it was pressure building up for this breakout to the downside to happen. We got the break of the level, we got the retest, we got the continuation, another retest, and now we have another break and close below. So downside room on this pair, a lot of downside room. Let's go back to the daily. You should sell any rallies, any correction higher, especially if you get another retest of this structure up here. Anything like this on lower time frame, 1 hour time frame or 4 hour time frame, then short it toward this level here. Very possible, and you can see it clearly. If we break these lows, then we are reaching back down to the bottom of the range. Not sure what of it gonna happen next week. What I'm sure of, that we are breaking structure. We do have lower lows and lower highs all the way, and we should keep following this trend to the downside. Okay. Aussie USD, very nice short idea last week from the 61.8. I did send this idea in my trading room to my students, and it was perfect. Just at the 61.8, the monthly pivot point at this level, we had the NFP high, we had a previous structure here, and of course the 61.8. All confluence at this level was the idea about taking this short. Now, what we need to happen for this to continue lower is, of course, a break of this previous low here, because even on this nice short trade, we still have higher highs here and higher lows. We never broke below this low to say that this up move is over. Okay, so as you see, we've been making higher highs and higher lows all the time. This was our last high, but we never broke below a major swing low here. This is a major swing low on the 4-hour that need to be broken close below with a 4-hour candle before a continuation. So if this happened, the market move lower, close below this structure here on the 4-hour, then we will be waiting for the correction higher. That would be possibly a retest of the 200 moving average, and then look for bearish evidence here and take another shorting opportunity. Monthly S1 gonna be first trouble area, but structure wise there is nothing on the way till we reach these lows back down here. Yeah, so this could be a start of continuation of this reversal from this level here, and very easy to spot how to trade it when you look at on the 4-hour time frame. So this could be now break below previous structure. This swing low here is now broken, so this move to the upside is definitely now broken, and correction and possibly continuation, or at least a retest of the 200 daily moving average back down here is possible. That is as well based on that double or triple bottom we had on the Dixie. CAD JAPI, very interesting chart. I did publish an idea about it on Telegram and on Facebook. Even in my trading room, been updating about this structure, that we do now have a break below this major swing low here. As you see, we broke below monthly S1, and the last line of defense was, of course, this swing here that is now broken as well on the daily. So as you see, it's a very empty area down here. The next trouble area should be at this neckline down here, where we do have this triple bottom or double bottom, as you see. So this neckline here could be a possible target, and if that broken, of course we're gonna reach the bottom of this range. So now broken, it is looking very extended, trading below the 200 daily moving average, RSI at the extreme. Of course, we would be very happy to see a correction higher, a retest of the monthly S2 and this level, or even better, if we get a retest of this structure here toward the monthly S1, that would be much better place to try to short it in anticipation to reach lower. But it is a short, and you should be watching the rallies and try to selling them. But don't rush to this. It is, in my opinion, a little bit overextended now. 4-hour time frame, same scenario, breaking lower lows and lower highs. Any kind of retest toward this or this could be a good idea to short those levels. Swissy JAPI, retest of that major trend line now. We had a nice bounce here. I mentioned this level on my last week's overview, and I told you guys that we now testing monthly S1, 200 daily moving average, and this major trend line, and that we should keep seeing this as a possible support level. We got some short-term trades, but it's still looking heavy. Looking at Friday's candle, it's still looking very, very heavy, and now the 200 daily moving average is broken. The monthly S1 is broken. This previous structure is broken as well. I don't think this trend line is gonna be the reason to hold this pair. So there is a possibility that we see a break of this for next week, and if that happens, we break and close below this previous pin bar here, then you should be shorting every rally on this pair. Try to short, sell any rallies back down below the monthly S1 toward to reach even this swing low here, or back down here toward this level. As you see, we do have a structure, a good structure here as well. Okay, so very clear level. This one, of course we want to see this broken, and if this got broken, that may not happen next week, of course, then you see how much room there is to the downside on this one after this double top scenario here. Very interesting chart, this one and the CAD Jappy. I think the CAD Jappy is my favorite one. Euro Aussie, it is so stubborn, this pair up here. Been stopped out on break even, took some profit on some of them. We've been shorting these tested here every single time it reached them in our room. There is a lot of trader in my rooms that still holding this short. I went out after the last try. I didn't like it that we didn't break below these lows, so now I am out from this trade, but it is still the same idea. We do have this range in play. We are waiting for the break of it for a continuation lower, so you can actually keep trying to sell any retest higher. You can take some profit here and look for a possible break, and if that break, this break happened, then you look for a retest, and then your next target should be down here. So still the same idea. The thing is that make me sure that we want to keep shortening is after this major move here, this fake out or stop loss hunt. The next move was rejected as well with another lower high. I think and I hope that we see a break of this structure next week. Then there is a lots of room down toward this structure down here. Yeah. So no change in this idea yet, is still valid short. Looking at the wicks, all of them is coming from the upside. The divergence on the daily, triple top divergence, I do love those a lot when this happen, giving me triple tops of divergence despite higher highs. I can't see anything else than shorting this as well, as far as we are still not breaking this structure up here. Euro Chief, as I said last week, guys, sell any retest of this structure, and we got that retest, and Thursday and Friday was bearish days. I think if you're holding a short, you can look for a target at these lows down here at the monthly S1. Next problem on the way, if this structure, if we break below this structure, you're gonna get at least a short-term bounce on the retest of the daily 200 moving average. And then, as you see, and as I said last week, guys, the major target should be down here toward the structure here, down here toward this one here. So play it one step at a time. If you are holding a short, keep an eye on this previous structure low that may act as possible support. The next trouble is your the daily 200 moving average, and if that broken, then you are going all the way down here. Very interesting chart as well. Euro sterling did not break above these highs. This area is been defended very well so far. The 200 moving average is not getting respecting very much here, a little bit here, choppy here, respected here, and lots of chop around it here. But what we do have is this level being defended. As you see, every time we reach this level, we start getting wicks from the upside and pressure to the downside. I don't see any structure to hold this before it reach these levels down here. So if you are holding a short, you should keep an eye on down here. I think the monthly pivot point could be the first trouble area, but then as you see, we may reach this level, this daily level down here as well. Let's go back to the daily sheet, really, this down here. So on the 4 hour, what do we have? Very nice rounding top, start making lower lows and lower highs. Neckline is broken no matter what, or no matter how you draw it. If you see this as a neckline, if you see this low as a neckline, all of them being broken. Don't look a lot about on this 200 4-hour moving average. Since this market been ranging here and it's not respected, so we do not use that as a possible support level. And as you see now, after we broke this low as well, there is no structure on the 4-hour till we reach down here. Okay, so I think the idea here is to keep selling the rallies, any retest higher of this broken structure, then sell that level and anticipate that we may continue this trend to the downside. Euro JPY heading back down. I think it's gonna test the monthly S2 for next week. Of course, it looks very heavy again. And guys, look at this, very clear level here. Those who went long on this candle here, and those who've been long for a long while here after the break and the retest of this level, every time they went long, if they are still long, you have this area here that should be a stop loss pocket. So this pocket of stop loss, if that got triggered, it's gonna fuel this pair to keep going lower. Because when we start triggering stop loss after stop loss, you're gonna get that domino effect and it's gonna move very fast to the downside. But I think it is a well defended level. Many times it is very clear. You see here, resistant, retested, support, all the way. So you can expect fake outs as well, stop loss hunt here. Be careful. I think this long here from the monthly S2 is very crowded. We do have the daily 200 moving average coming as well from below. RSI at the extreme. Many eyes on this level, and if they gonna reverse it from here, I think it is too good to be true, and everyone is trying to long this from this level. They're gonna be a deep stop loss hunt if it will reverse. If you see on the 4 hour any nice stop loss hunt in about 50 to 60 pips, wait to see if it's really a break or if it's gonna reverse higher below the monthly S2. Wait for that. If you get a pin bar somewhere here deep below the daily, but on the 4 hour you get a rejection back inside the range, then you can go long after that stop loss hunt, because as I said, the level is very clear. Well, now if you got a daily close below this area here, a real close, strong close, then of course we start looking for a continuation, since we've been trading in this upper box and in this upper box, and that if we enter to the lower box here, then we're gonna be trading this lower range. If that happen, they're gonna be a bounce play inside this range if we got a daily close below and entering inside this here. Yes, of course, long first at the retest, especially if you see stop loss hunt of this nice clean level. Euro New Zealand broke this upper range now, and trading at the lows of the previous swing low. I think there is some levels to be tested, as you see here. We do have this structure. This is I think this is the most important structure. If this pair to continue higher, this structure should hold. But as you see, guys, on the 4 hour, it was also clear here. The highs getting lower and lower and lower, and we had equal lows. Once again, when this start happening, you can feel the pressure coming from the upside. Every time you get a lower high, but you get equal lows that been building up since this move here, that been building up to make this breakout. The 200 moving average has been acting as very good support and resistant, dynamic support and resistant. We broke it here, retested at this level here, another retest here, we broke it, retested and retested here, and look here, many times this 200 moving average on the 4 hour been acting as a very good dynamic support. Now broken below this structure and did not really break below this wick yet, but I think after this break now we can start looking to sell the retest of this broken structure or the retest of the 200 4-hour moving average, in anticipation that we may broke and continue toward these lows down here. Very interesting chart as well, clear level down here. You can see it very well on the 4 hour, as you see. Yeah. Euro USD, the triple bottom we saw on the Dixie is represented here as a triple top, because as you know they do the opposite, and since lots of ways for Euro USD in the Dixie, you see always the same patterns but in an opposite way. So this is now making bearish divergence between this high and this high and this high. As you see, they're getting lower, and between this high and this high we have another divergence like this. Friday was a clear rejection. We couldn't break and close above these highs. Let's go to the weekly. We are in an important level still. I'm seeing this possible major trend line to the downside. I am seeing 61.8 and the 38.2, depends on how you draw it. So we have this Fibonacci extension of this move here. As you see, this leg here, if you measure that, you got the 61.8. And if we measure the extreme high up here, the all-time high toward this low, we do have the 38.2. Up here we have yearly R1 pivot, monthly R1 pivot. We do have structure looking left. That's why I'm still seeing this is a big trouble area for the euro. Let's go back to the daily. Triple top scenario. Divergence is bearish. Last Friday was a bearish, very strong bearish engulfing candle. Couldn't hold above NFP levels. We broke below NFP low again. We broke this structure on the 4 hour as well, breaking previous low. So I'm thinking to resell any rallies back up, especially if it reached the NFP high again, that we could try to sell it in anticipation to reach the monthly pivot point. This is the first trouble area, and that at that time we probably gonna have the 200 4-hour moving average at this level as well, that may act as a problem for the pair. We do have FOMC on Wednesday, so there is some catalyst for the move as well. The trend is still, of course, a bullish trend. We are trading way below, away from the daily 200 moving average, as you see, lots of room. We are trading, I think, above all of them, above the 50 as you see, above the 20 on the daily, and above the 100, of course. So your first moving average to look at is, in this case, the 20, holding well here and did hold here. So you can use the 20 as a filter to use it for if you want to see that there is a possibility that the reversal may start at this major level or not. But until then, there is some trade scenarios before we reach that daily Shugi moving average. And the trade idea that I am talking about is to sell any rallies back up here. 50% of this move would be great level, or somewhere near these structures up here. Sell it from this high in anticipation to reach back below. Sterling CAD, another possible triple top scenario with bearish divergence on the RSI. It's not the best one, since the lows are getting higher, and this could be actually a build up for a breakout and to retest the extreme highs up here. I still think that this may happen long term, that we usually use to test these extreme highs. But you see it here, it is a clear level that should be taken care of before a continuation higher. So keep an eye on this level. The idea here is to short these highs, since you got a nice risk to reward here. It is possible to do so, but of course, if this structure got broken, then you should be looking of a retest of the monthly R1 and this extreme structure here. They happen to be at the same level. This would be your last target before you try to take a reversal. The major trend, guys, is still an uptrend. We cannot argue on that, but I do like this divergence. I do like the rejection here, so keep an eye on this level. Yeah, you have this range to play here. If this will start bouncing up and down, then of course you should be looking to play this box. Sell the highs, buy the lows of it. Sterling JP going back down to retest the lows, seems so. We got a nice rejection last Wednesday, but couldn't find bulls to continue higher, since JAPI been very strong. As you know, guys, I did publish a chart about Japanese yen futures, and I told you do not fight it yet, but we are in an uptrend here. As far as we are trading, as far as the low of this box is still holding, and the monthly S2 at that level, we do have a major structure back down here again. As you see, it is a clear major structure. The 200 daily moving average is at that level as well. So any test of these lows here should be taking as a possible bounce level to the upside from here until you see this happen. We want to see if this to really reverse to the downside. We want to see it break below the box, break outside of the trend line, below the 200 daily moving average. Then we start trying to sell the rallies to the upside. RSI, as you see, extreme oversold now. I wouldn't sell it here. We don't sell toward support. There is possibly short-term sells if you want to trade lower time frame. Then you want to see on the 1 hour this happen, break of this previous structure, retest, then there is a possibility that you get some short-term shorts on this one. Okay, but as you see here on the 4 hour, there is a possibility that we do have this possible inverted head and shoulders scenario here on this particular time frame. The divergence between this shoulder and this shoulder is very big, as you see. Let me show you. This is the left shoulder, this is the head, and this is the right shoulder. Big divergence here, as you see. This structure been acting as at least short-term support here now. The head here could be a fake out only, and the real structure is this one here. So there is a possibility now with this bullish divergence that you see a bounce toward the monthly S1 from this level, yeah. And especially, let's go back to the daily, that we are getting very close toward a very important level. Sterling USD now did move back and break above this structure high, above this swing high, but we have this double top here, and last Friday we got a possibility for a 2618 trade. As you see, it was a perfect 2618 scenario after this double top. Those of you who do not know what a 2618 trade scenario is, go to YouTube channel and there is make a search, just write 2618 and search about that video. I explain it very well how to trade it. But anyway, we had a nice move to the downside, retest of these levels, the monthly pivot point and the BOE high, and this BOE high here been acting as a good resistance and support level here now. So we should keep an eye at this structure. As far as this structure is holding, then we may see another bounce higher. I am expecting actually that we break below that. This is lower high, another lower lows here, and that we may see something like this happen and continue a little bit lower. The major trend is of course to the upside. I will not argue that, guys. So, but the thing is that this time we broke below this neckline here. We couldn't make a new high. We do have lower highs now. We did have another lower low. One can think of this move to the upside as a retest, as a correction higher. As I said earlier, a perfect 2618 trade, and probably now we get the next leg to continue this possible A, B, C, D scenario here before a bounce again. So keep an eye on this move here, A, B, C, D. The completion of the D gonna be at this very important structure. Then you may get your bounce to the upside. We're still up above the 200 moving average, so there is a possibility that we continue higher, but we can expect a little bit of more downside before the bounce. Let me see, Ridwan, you're asking about those monthly pivot point I draw. No, there is no tutorial about that. All I do is I put the let me show you a little bit fast, guys. I put the pivot points on trading view on the monthly traditional, of course, and where are they? Why they are not showing? Here we go. as you see here, these are the pivot point of this month. Then I use the horizontal ray to mark those like this, where the level is. Double click on that, change the name of it to monthly pivot point or whatever you want to call it, put it at the right level, and that's all. Then you can lock it so it don't change so you don't accidentally change it. Okay, then I take off the pivot point, because as you see, when you put the pivot point, they crunch the chart a little bit. Without them, it's much clearer. Then I can have my daily pivot point as well without needing to change that. So yeah, I hope that answered your questions. New Zealand USD reached once again an important level, rejected here, and last Friday was a little bit of rejection, not a major candle that we can work with. Indecision, but the divergence is very clear up here, and of course one could expect a bounce from this level. So the same goes here. What I don't like about it, that we did correct 100% back up. So after this break of this low here, I would like this, after this retest, to continue lower and break the structure. Now that didn't happen, and we did a 100% correction back up, but we never broke and closed above this level, never broke above this or this one here. So one can still think that there is a possibility that we may reverse. But as you see, on the 4 hour, broke above this structure, we broke above the NFP high as well. This was the NFP high, broken, retested, and another push higher that couldn't break the extreme high here, and we went back down. So I'm looking at this pair to see what's next, and for me, if I want to short this, at least short term, I want to see a break below this structure here, below NFP, and back down toward these levels at the first area where we do have we're gonna have the 200 moving average on the 4 hour time frame gonna be at these areas. Back on the daily, you see, I'm afraid that this market want to retest up here toward the monthly pivot point, the R1, and the retest of the extreme highs. That is possible, but based on this nice divergence, I can have some confidence to try to start short it a little bit early, but of course I don't want to pick a top, so I want at least some lower low and another lower high on the 4 hour before I start shorting it. USD CAD, we had this nice retest of the 61.8 and the previous structure, and a very good push to the downside. We expected a bounce from this structure here, of course, since it was a very strong and clear structure here. We expected a possible bounce, and we got that. Now on the 4 hour, as you see, I still think that we may see this structure here as a possible resistant level where the price is testing right now for next week, that you probably can get a possible shorting opportunity to retest the lows here. That may happen, but if we look at the 200 moving average on the 4 hour, very good support, broken, retested, and then it did hold as well here. Now we are trading at resistance. If this to continue higher, of course you want to see a broke of this level, retest, then next trouble area gonna be back again at 61.8 and this range up here. Okay, so we have 3 ranges here, major ones, then we have some smaller inside them, but I am talking about this range 1, range 2, the middle one, and we do have this lower range. So keep playing those boxes, guys. This is minor resistant and this is the major one, so any retest of this level could be a level to sell, or any retest here is your buy until one of the levels got broken. So at first we may expect the bounce from where USD CAD is testing right now. Yeah, USD JPY, what I told you last Sunday did happen, and we were talking about the possibility that we see a break of this structure or break outside of this range this time, because I told you guys, let me explain it why again for those who didn't watch last week overview, that every time we reach this level we had a very strong bounce from these levels down here as well. After this fake out we had a move all the way back up, but this time we did reach this level, we didn't get a strong breakout, a strong move higher. All we got was a move up here to retest these lows, giving us another lower high. So there is not the same convenience in this move as it was earlier, and by looking at the Dixie and the gold, we had some rooms both for the Dixie to move lower and the gold may break to the upside. That what make me start thinking that we're gonna see the break this time, and we really got a very nice and strong break to the downside. Now after this whole move to the downside, we did reach the 61.8 of this whole move, important level. If we look left, we had structure here, so there is a possibility that we may see a possible start of a correction now, or a bounce higher here to at least retest of these important level now that been acting as a very strong in a long time support that may act as resistant, and we got another bounce lower. So long term I think JPY gonna keep going strong, but there is a possibility that we get a bounce from here. Let me show you the futures, and you're gonna know what I mean about it, because I did publish a chart about the Japanese future as well. It's actually the opposite of USD JPY, but you see it much clearer here on this chart. I said, guys, don't fight this now. We broke above this range, and that we may reverse at the 61.8 down here, and we got that reversal. What I'm thinking that the Japanese yen may do this now, retest of the structure here, and then probably continuation higher. So this is the idea, and of course the opposite is on USD JPY. This is what's happening here, but the opposite. So I'm looking for a possible bounce now from the 61.8 and this previous structure toward 108.30 area, 108.50, and then we may get another bounce and probably break in continuation now after we broke this major structure here. So there is both ways scenarios here, but be careful on the upside, because that is counter a major trend. So you should not have a very wide take profit. You probably want to grab and run if you want to trade this on the way to the upside. The best way for me, that would be to wait for the retest, because it may take a long time before we reach that level, and then to short the area up here, 108 to 109 somewhere, to start shortening it in anticipation to continue lower, guys. Yes, and last one is Bitcoins. I like Bitcoins right now. It is following the instruction I'm giving it. So we've been talking about the levels, guys. We said that a break above this structure will send us higher toward this trouble area. We got rejected a little bit, and then, as I said, if we break above this previous structure, then we expect a retest and a continuation. So now when that happened, I think we can start looking for a continuation of this move toward the 12,500 area. That is a major level. If Bitcoins to really continue this fly high move, it need to break and hold above this structure here. When and if that happened, then there is a possibility that we really see the longer term continuation to the upside on Dixie. On Bitcoins. So keep an eye on this structure now. Any retest of this level here could be a buying possibility, especially the retest of the 200 on the 4-hour. And your target is this structure up here around the 12,500. This is the major level that either will send Dixie back down toward the 6,000, or if it breaks, then guys, we may see 17,000 once again. Okay, so play it easy, don't rush. There is lots of time, there is room. Play the levels one by one. So break below 10,000, of course we're gonna see the 9,000 again. Break below the 9,000, we're gonna see the 7,800, and so on and so forth. Take these levels, put them on your chart, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Play those levels, and trust me on that, you're gonna make money either way if it goes up or down. But keep playing the if then, and you will not get hurt. Don't guess anything. And that was the last pair. As usual, couple of minutes for questions if any of you have questions. I see 28 viewers. Welcome to all of you guys, but we still have just 18 likes. Oh my god, hit the like button, guys. How many times I have to say that? So questions, guys, or any charts you want me to look at. Otherwise I'm gonna call it a day, and yeah, take a little bit rest before I go and make a session for my lovely student later on today. Let me drink some water, and that will give me some time and give you some time to write your questions if you have any. I don't see any questions, guys. Every time I say I don't see any questions, I get questions. Do you analyze the take in concern the Dixie before entering any trades? Yeah, I do look at that a lot for the USD pairs, Timothy. As you see, I always start by looking at the Dixie in every week. And I do look on Dixie and gold a lot before entering USD pairs trades, because if the Dixie on the right level, gold is on the right level, that makes stuff a little bit easy, especially for the US Euro USD and USD JAPI. So yeah, answer for your questions is yes, and even gold. Thank you, Oneye. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Um, yes, I don't see any other questions. So thank you very much, guys, for being here. Thanks for all your support. See you out there over Facebook and Telegram, Instagram, and trade safe, guys. Yeah. If I have one thing to tell the newer ones, don't rush, give it time, have patience, don't rush in trades. The market will always give you second chance. So good luck for all of you, and bye bye.